Thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Scentbird is a subscription service where each month you get a 30-day supply of a designer fragrance of your choosing for only $17 per month. I really like Scentbird because I love wearing perfume, but I always forget to put it on before I leave the house. So having a perfume in a little travel case is perfect because I can just toss it in my bag and I won't ever forget to put any on. Scentbird is flexible and you can skip any month you'd like without penalties. They have over 600 designer brands including Prada, Versace, and Gucci. If you'd like to subscribe and you don't know where to start, Scentbird offers a quiz to help you decide what fragrance would be best for you.
With Scentbird, we both smelled amazing on our wedding day.
This month we received Dolce & Gabbana, the One for Men, which has notes of amber, tobacco, and ginger, Burberry Brit for Men, which has notes of rose, ginger, and tonka bean, Prada Luna Rossa, which has notes of lavender, mint, and bitter orange, and Versace Dylan Bleu Pour Homme, which has notes of bergamot, grapefruit, and incense. Michael Germain, which has notes of bergamot, cardamom, lavender. Make sure to click the link below and use my code for 55% off your first month at Scentbird. That's only about $8 for your first month. Also, Scentbird is now available in Canada. So thank you again to Scentbird for sponsoring this episode. Now back to the show.
Hello everybody and welcome back. It's been a minute. For those of you who don't know, Kim and I got married. So hence why you haven't seen a video in a week or two. And while this one's also delayed till midweek, who knew marriage could take up so much time? But absolutely, it was great. But we'll get into more of that a bit later. But first, let's get into some time lapses. It's been a minute since everybody's seen one, so let's get into that. This week's project, the wall behind me. So let's do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed a time lapse, first one in a while. And of course, not the last one for this episode either, so we'll get back to that project towards the end. But of course, since we last spoke, something pretty monumental happened in my life. The one that's been teased a bunch, and I'm sure people are starting to probably be at least slightly sick of hearing about it. But Kim and I got married. And since you guys are such a big part of our lives, and this process was a really big part of our lives, we thought we'd share this with you guys, at least a few photos to let you guys know how it went. It went amazing. We had it at my grandparents' house. It was a very small, very quick ceremony. It was basically just a big party, and I had friends fly in from all over the place, and it was just a really, really good time to hang out with friends and family, and I think it was absolutely perfect the way it was. I want to thank you guys who did send gifts. You certainly didn't have to do that. But we're really thankful that people all over the world care about us and what we do in this house and all this stuff. So it felt wrong not to share something with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the photos. And in other quick news, I acquired some things this week. some really cool things. Normally when I acquire things, I don't share them with you guys, but these 2 sets of items, let's say, I think are something you guys are gonna wanna see. First thing, and definitely the coolest thing I've acquired this week, is this awesome work table. I've seen quite a few like it online. I believe it is probably about $18.90 or maybe a little bit early, could be a little bit later. The style was quite popular for quite some while. And I've got some really cool clamps here, which have already been helpful to me. So, you know, put your work there, clamp it on down. Then we have one here to the side as well that goes, of course, the other way. So this one screws back out that way. All the dog holes everywhere. Don't have any dogs, didn't come with any of them. Dogs are little square blocks. They're typically in a modern workbench. They are round. This is older, so it has the square ones. But you can knock a piece of wood, which would be called a dog in this case, against this, push your piece of work up to it, and you can actually clamp. You can see there's dog holes in this clamp. This whole part here is this clamp, and you can actually tighten things up and together using these holes and these square pegs called dogs. Really cool technology. I haven't had my own like real workbench in a very, very long time. I've never had one this old, and I fully plan on using it. I've actually already been using it. I used it to fix a piece of wood for the doors. So this clamp has already seen some use. It's already working here in the house. And it's just a nice piece. I even got a little drawer down here. So, you know, super exciting stuff. See? Sneaky steel wool. Seems like these items are also very popular among people who live in like lofts and stuff like that. To turn them into like dinner tables with like a piece of glass on top of them and stuff. I rarely see these things in use any longer. And some people have them marked up at like $2,500 and crazy money. This I got for $300. And it's just as nice as any of the ones I see online, and mine will actually be a functional piece again. Plus it really looks nice next to, like, say, the Holland Brown lathe. I'm getting very close to having an actual working Victorian wood shop, so pretty excited about that. Also at this same estate sale, because the guy was obviously a woodworker, because he had this table, he also had a bunch of woodworking tools, a few of which I acquired, like this nice big old monkey wrench, which is really cool, quite old. Also noticed I was picking up a little bit ago that had some initials in it, so AD. I didn't ask because I didn't see this when I was there, but I wonder if the guy's name was, well, AD, if those were his initials, or if this was maybe passed down. It's a really old piece, but I feel like if I'm gonna have all these machines, I need something appropriate, like a tool like this to work on them with. It doesn't have any kind of serrations or anything on that, so it shouldn't scuff up any of my bolts either. So this should be a very handy tool, in fact. But these are kind of the creme de la creme that I got this week, especially this box. These are all chisels, but the keen-eyed among you might have noticed that these chisels have some fairly long handles, and that's because these are for lathes. And if you guys remember, this here is my Holland Brown lathe. These I've actually looked up. They're from W. Butcher, made in Sheffield, England. So I know I have a few British users. Hey, how you doing? If you live in Sheffield, these were made in your hometown. And essentially what you would do, I'm missing the tool rest to my lathe here, but essentially you would rest this against the lathe and work on the piece as it's spinning. This is a very large cove here. We have a few more different sizes of coves here as well, and then some various gouges in that set as well, including this gigantic one, which is maybe the easiest way to see. The W. Butcher cast steel. And you can see some of the really cool markings on the back of it here. And this loose one here is a really good example of showing you where they were all made, which is Sheffield, England. I actually looked up W. Butcher. It seems like these were a really desirable set of old lathe chisels. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to have these. You know, I've never had very or super nice tools like this, but I'm really excited to not only to be able to use the lathe, but use tools that would have been appropriate on that lathe and that are still quite sought after today. So very, very lucky find here. And I'll throw this in really quick too, because it was sitting on my bench over here. My dad found this for $1. It's an old magnetophone, and seems like it's all there. Of course, I have no idea what I'm looking at, but really nice piece. And I think this might be the oldest telephone I have. So definitely something that might be, I don't know, included on the first floor. Maybe hook it up to some of those other phones I've received as gifts and things like that. But interesting, right? And then a little corbel from some house down the street that got torn down that I'm working on. I think my dad's going to use it potentially for an old house he has as some decoration, or potentially shelving somewhere. I don't know. Be nice to have a few shelves out of some corbels. I have like 8 of these things, so yeah, use them where I can. You know, as usual, I prefer them to stay in the neighborhood. All right, so enough about weddings and old tools. Let's get back to the wall, shall we? All right, so you guys have seen what I've done this week as far as this wall is concerned, but let's get into the reason why I was working on this wall and not another project. It got pretty cold this week. We had a low of 27, which is like -3 or 4 Celsius, so we got below freezing, which is, well, kind of came as a bit of a surprise, especially because I think Friday it's going to be 80 degrees, so we're really
touching the highs and the lows this week. We're gonna have a nice hot day and some really cold ones too. So below freezing and a Florida pleasant day is what we're having this week. So that'll be interesting. But because it was getting so cold, this door became quite an issue. As you guys know, the last episode I did work on this door. And the door itself, no problem there. We're happy with that. It does need a little bit of work, obviously some of the trim around the windows, but for the most part, it's pretty good. The problem is the frame, and of course, as I was realizing the problems with the frame, there's also problems with the wall here. When I opened this door, you can see down the frame, we had lots and lots and lots of scraping going on. Now, all of this is just surface deep, not really big problem. What was happening is the frame here at the bottom was jutting out this way. The reason it was doing that is because how this is secured to it is with, well, nails back in the day, I put screws in it, but this actually isn't stone, it's wood. This one is also wood, and these blocks allow you to screw things to it, also allows you to put the trim on this side of the wall. But I didn't have one down there, so that wooden block there is brand new. And because this block here didn't exist, the frame here bowed out towards the inside, causing the door no longer to fit very well. So as opposed to a seal like that, where it doesn't really rub at all, except for at the very top for some odd reason, which is what is news to me after I got this all back together. It's much better now. I got the lock put in, so I can stop using my board that I was using. This was my lock, which did work, but I don't want to really use it anymore if I can help it. Here on the outside, you can see some of the pointing work I did on this wall. Now, all of the mortar that was in here was extremely loose, half because it was an original lime mortar, and the other half of the reason it was so bad was because this was all rendered in cement. What you can see down here is still the case in the front, so I haven't done anything on the front of this wall, but this is what I needed to be able to get this back in and together. So it's important that I have that done. You'll see we have quite the gap here where you can get your hand in between it. So I will have to put some mortar in this joint as well to expand this out and cover this all up. Currently, I've just got a bunch of insulation in there, a bunch of rock wool to stop the flow of the quite cold air. So this part of the frame is secure, it's not going anywhere, nice and sturdy, strong, and I'm happy. There's always a bunch of steps when it comes to projects like this. So it might start off as being, oh, well, I really want to get this door back together. But then that project turns into, oh, the door frame is bad. Then it becomes, oh, the wall underneath the frame is bad. So there's a lot of processes here that you have to figure out and go through the steps if you really want to get back correctly. Now, one small project turns into 5 much bigger projects. And as you see, I haven't pointed the rest of this wall quite yet either. I just kind of scraped out some of the mortar. So that's something that'll be happening here pretty soon. And we'll have a nice clean brick wall, or we'll have a nice clean rock wall to work with down here in what will eventually be the kitchen. So, and now the wall can breathe a little bit better, and hopefully the decay will not happen in my lifetime again. So fingers crossed on that. So that's the episode, guys. Thank you so much as always for watching. Again, thank you guys all so much for the wedding wishes and the well wishes for me and Kim in our future. Hopefully future children sometime soon. Fingers crossed there. And again, sorry for my absence for so long, but you know, I think it was a good idea to be present for the wedding, and my friends are coming in town, and just to have a little bit of a break to really enjoy the marriage and all that stuff. So as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Sorry for the delay this last month with everything that's been coming on the channel, but we'll be getting back to normal here this week, hopefully. Take care of you guys yourselves. I'll see you guys all again next Monday. Until then, bye-bye.